So I sit on that side of the gong about 75 times a year. How hard can it be? Today we're going to talk about sudo from a folder for the slightly trusted user. So the problem that I have is I have a Jenkins user running a Jenkins setup, and occasionally he needs to run things as sudo with full power, but we don't want to just let him run anything because that would be bad. So what ways do we have to do such a thing? We could just become root, either sudo su or sudo -i. That's interactive. You have full power. You are root, but of course it's going to ask for your password. It's not good for a script. And it's interactive. Or we could tell it to do something specifically, like sudo ls. It's not interactive, but it's going to ask for a password. That's not terribly useful. And in both these cases, we have to give ourselves permission to do it, which means you have to go in and edit the etc. sudoers file, which, by the way, if you're going to do that, you have to use vi sudo. It's a special command. Don't go editing it through any other way. Bad things may happen. And in this case, notice the bottom of the examples. It's me, his full power everywhere, can become root. So we don't want to give him power to do everything, so let's go with plan B. He can do only special things. So we go into that same file, we edit it with vi sudo, and Jenkins does not need a password, but he can only run these two very specific commands. You have to put them out exactly, put commas between them. Unfortunately, if you want to give him more powers later, you have to come back and edit this file, which is just a pain. So we're going to go with plan C. It turns out that if you say in there a directory name with the slash on the end, this Jenkins user now, without a password, can run any executable command in that directory. Can't do anything in subdirectories, can't do anything in parent directories, but if you put it in that directory and make it executable, he can run it with full power, and that's what you need to make it work. So that's the important slide. If you forget everything else today, that's the one to remember, and remember the slash on the end is important. So now how can we make this easy for us? Our developers write their code in the normal way, put it in this normal repository, and push it out to the servers in the normal way, and it's sitting there waiting for you. It's not sudoable yet, but we're going to take care of that. Then the very trusted user, that's you, comes along and makes sure that your developers have given you something and haven't tried to salami slice the half cents off. So you are the final line of defense. You put it in that place, and then the slightly trusted user can do the things you've given them permission to do. So to make this all work, I picked a directory. I put it in the Jenkins home directory, and I made a sudoable place, and I put a private directory inside it, which is going to have the script from the next few lines to make my life easy. It's going to automatically move the things that I need into the right place. And we do all of this as root. One thing to notice that I put it in home Jenkins, which isn't actually owned by root, it's owned by the Jenkins user, which means he could go up a level and do nefarious things. So you probably should put it in a directory that from that point up, it's root all the way. Keep yourself out of trouble. And the script that we're going to be using on the next couple lines, I called promote Jenkins sudoable. This is owned by root. When you call it, you give it a list of scripts that you want to grab from the repositories you just checked out, put into the special place, and let it run. So 3 parts. First thing we're going to do is you're going to call that script, and you're going to give it the list of files we're going to move up now, and it just loops through them, and it makes the two sources, the source file and the destination where you're going to put it. So notice that it's coming from somewhere that you've checked it out of the repository, and you're putting it in that special place that we've put in the sudoers file that he actually has power to do stuff. And as we can see, I'm on slide 12 of 27. We're right on track. We're in good shape. So after it loops through this, it looks at the source file, and it goes to check, is it there? If it is there, it will show you a diff of the thing that you've just got out of the repository and the thing that you've already got in production. Remember, you are the very trusted user. You are the last line of defense. If you hit yes and say, go ahead and copy it over, anybody with access to the Jenkins user will now be able to run this with full power as root. Don't just let anything through. You are the last line of protection. If the file's not there, it's going to assume you had a typo, you misspelled the script name. It will show you the directories that are the files that are in that directory so that you can go in and deal with them, fix your mistake. And lastly, it's going to ask you, do you really want to move it? And if you say yes, it'll copy it over. You could also say that you want to delete it and get it out of there. If you try to delete the script that we're actually talking about here, it has a message, very funny, but deleting this will make you sad because this script is here just to make our life simpler. So a quick example, remember earlier in plan B, we allowed it to start and restart the server, and you had to type it precisely, and it had to be in the file precisely. Now, you just have to have the file name in there right, and the script tells exactly what to do, and it goes off and does its thing, and you never have to worry about going back. And this one does start and restart, but it doesn't have a delete, shut down the server. So you can go back and add a shutdown. You just have to put the script in the right place. You don't have to go edit the sudoers file anymore. And you could even send parameters in here. In this case, I'm looking at some log files. Do be safe if you choose to do this. It's a bit more dangerous than the other option, and put it in double quotes there so that you won't get into trouble. In this case, I'm just using a couple variables to go look for the right kind of file. So it's insert